Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to cutting through the noise and getting truly well-informed.
Yeah, great to be diving in again.
If you're here today, you're joining us for an exploration that's both foundational and, quite frankly, pretty revolutionary in the realm of metabolic health.
Absolutely.
Consider this deep dive your essential companion to our main Metabolic Revolution podcast series. Here at Biospark Health, our team of research assistants, that's us.
That's us.
We're constantly immersed in the latest findings from the field of bioenergetics, meticulously poring over studies, clinical observations, historical data, you name it.
All the time.
And every now and then, we unearth something so fundamental, so profoundly misunderstood by conventional thinking, that it just demands a dedicated, in-depth look.
It really does. Some things just need unpacking.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Today, our spotlight shines on an element that many of you listening have likely been told to strictly limit, maybe even fear.
Salt.
Salt.
Yep.
That old villain. Yes, that simple crystalline substance, sodium chloride, that Dr. Steve Presciuti, our founder here at Biospark, often emphasizes as absolutely critical for vibrant health.
He really hammers that point home, and for good reason.
Our mission in this deep dive is to shatter the prevailing myths, unveil the surprising and honestly intricate science behind it, and show you why this essential mineral is not a dietary villain,
So far from it.
but rather a cornerstone of robust metabolic function.
Get ready to journey with us from the most intimate cellular processes
Right down to the nitty-gritty.
to broad, real-world health applications, revealing how salt impacts everything from your very energy levels to your digestive harmony in ways you might never have fully appreciated.
Yeah, and for those maybe newer to this, bioenergetics, it's fundamentally the study of how your body creates and uses energy at the cellular level.
Exactly. It's about understanding the core machinery of life itself.
It's truly astonishing, isn't it? How something so vital, so utterly essential can become so demonized.
It really is baffling when you look at the science. In the field of bioenergetics, we often start these conversations by challenging these, deeply ingrained beliefs. And the demonization of salt, sodium chloride, by mainstream nutritional advice is just a prime example.
The classic case.
If you've been following our Metabolic Revolution series, you'll definitely recognize this pattern. We've methodically dismantled other sacred cows.
We have.
We've explored the detrimental impact of polyunsaturated fats, PUFAs, on cellular energy. We've highlighted that energy production is the absolute master key to unlocking health.
The core principle.
We've explored the profound two-way street of the gut-energy connection. We've even shown you, with pretty robust evidence, why natural sugar, in its proper context, can be a supportive friend to your metabolism.
Not an enemy.
Not an enemy. And just recently, we offered a fresh bioenergetic perspective on cholesterol, demystifying its true role.
Yeah, busting another myth.
Today, salt slots perfectly into this larger narrative, exposing yet another widespread misconception that we believe is literally holding people back from experiencing optimal health and vitality.
It's not just academic either, is it?
Yeah.
For many of you listening right now, the effects of insufficient sodium are likely very real, even if you haven't quite connected the dots yet.
Oh, absolutely. These symptoms are common.
I mean, have you ever felt that deep, inexplicable fatigue? The kind that no amount of sleep seems to touch.
That bone-tired feeling.
Or that persistent brain fog where your thoughts feel sluggish, like wading through mud, and clarity seems elusive.
Yeah, difficulty concentrating.
Perhaps you constantly have cold hands and feet, that perpetual chill that never quite leaves, even in a warm room.
A classic sign of slow metabolism.
And here's a big one, and this often comes with a whisper of guilt. Do you find yourself experiencing intense, almost undeniable cravings for salty foods,
The body asking for what it needs.
only to feel maybe a pang of remorse for giving in because you've been told it's bad?
Exactly. That conditioning runs deep.
If any of those resonate, if you've been living with these sensations, this deep dive is going to be incredibly illuminating. Because what your body's actually trying to tell you through those cravings,
There's not a failing.
it isn't a desire for something unhealthy. It's a profound, innate signal for an absolutely vital nutrient. Your body is simply striving to maintain balance, homeostasis.
Precisely. Let's ground this in some fundamental physiology because the numbers, they really tell a story here.
Okay.
Your body, this incredibly complex and efficient organism, maintains approximately 100 grams of sodium at any given moment.
100 grams, that sounds like quite a lot.
It is. To put that into perspective, that's not a trace mineral. It's a substantial, integral component of your biological machinery. Sodium is the primary electrolyte in your extracellular fluid, basically, all the fluid outside your cells.
Right, the environment the cells live in.
And why is this so critical? Because every single nerve impulse you generate,
Every thought.
every muscle contraction you execute, from like the subtle flutter of an eyelid to running a marathon, every act of cellular communication, literally your ability to form a coherent thought,
Wow.
depends absolutely fundamentally on sodium. It is unequivocally vital for the very fabric of life.
That's incredibly foundational.
Yet, when we compare this physiological necessity to conventional dietary guidelines, like the ones from the American Heart Association,
Yeah.
we see a recommendation of less than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day.
Less than 1.5 grams.
That's less than a single teaspoon of salt for your entire day.
That seems tiny compared to how vital you just said it is.
It is tiny. Now, contrast that with ancestral consumption patterns. Researchers estimate our ancestors were likely consuming in the range of 10 to 15 grams of sodium daily, often from naturally salted whole foods.
10 to 15 grams.
Yeah.
Compared to less than 1.5.
Exactly. That's potentially a tenfold difference or even more. It's a stark historical and biological disconnect.
It really highlights how deeply ingrained the fear of salt has become in our modern consciousness, despite its undeniable physiological necessity.
It really makes you wonder, how did we get so far off track?
That disconnect is truly eye-opening and, frankly, a little bewildering.
Yeah.
If we zoom in from that macro historical view down to the microcellular level, the absolute importance of sodium becomes even clearer, especially when we talk about energy,
Always back to energy.
which is always at the heart of bioenergetics. Let's look at one of the first, most critical cellular mechanisms where sodium plays an irreplaceable role: glucose absorption in your gut.
Okay, super important.
As we've thoroughly explored in Metabolic Revolution, glucose is your body's preferred and most efficient fuel source. We need it.
Absolutely. Primary fuel.
But getting that fuel from your digestive system, where you eat it, into your bloodstream, and then into your cells where it's used, it isn't just a passive process, right?
Not at all. It's an active transport system.
Your intestines are lined with this intricate molecular machinery called sodium-glucose cotransporters, or SGLTs.
SGLTs. Yep.
The name itself gives you a big clue, doesn't it? Sodium glucose.
That's there in the name.
These tiny molecular porters quite literally harness the energy of the sodium gradient, the difference in sodium concentration, to pull glucose into your cells alongside sodium.
It's like sodium opens the door for glucose.
Exactly. Without adequate sodium, these cotransporters just can't do their job effectively, which means your body cannot efficiently absorb glucose, its preferred fuel.
So even if you eat carbs, you might not be getting the full energy benefit if sodium is low.
Precisely. It's a direct, undeniable link. If you're low on sodium, you're directly impairing your ability to get glucose, that foundational energy source, into your system, directly impacting your overall energy production.
It's like having a full tank of gas in your car, but, I don't know, the fuel line is clogged or the fuel pump isn't working right.
Perfect analogy. The fuel's there, but you can't access it properly.
And that impact on energy goes even deeper. Affecting the very engine of your cellular life. We absolutely have to discuss the sodium-potassium pump.
Ah, yes, the famous pump.
It's famous for a reason. Imagine your cells not just as tiny batteries, but maybe like perfectly inflated miniature balloons that constantly maintain their shape and their electrical charge.
Yep.
This pump is the sophisticated engine, kind of a molecular bouncer at the cell door that keeps them in that optimal state.
Right.
It actively uses ATP adenosine triphosphate, the direct energy currency of every cell,
The energy molecule.
to meticulously pump 3 sodium ions out of the cell for every 2 potassium ions it pumps into the cell.
Okay, so it's constantly moving things around.
Constantly. This constant, precise movement creates and maintains a crucial electrical gradient across the cell membrane. This isn't just for show. It's the fundamental electrical potential that powers a huge array of life-sustaining processes.
Like what?
Well, think about nerve transmission. This gradient is what allows your brain to send lightning-fast messages throughout your body, enabling you to think, move, react, everything.
Wow.
It's also vital for nutrient transport, ensuring your cells can pull in all the good stuff they need to function properly.
Okay.
Crucially, when your sodium levels are low, this pump cannot work efficiently. It becomes sluggish, and like you said before, those cellular batteries start to run down.
Or the balloons start to deflate.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's truly mind-boggling. This single pump, the sodium-potassium pump.
Yeah.
It consumes a staggering portion. Estimates range from 20 to 30% of your body's total ATP production every single day.
20 to 30%, just for that one pump.
Just for that one type of pump, working constantly in pretty much all your cells. That fact alone underscores its immense foundational importance in overall energy metabolism.
That's incredible. It's not just another enzyme. It's a massive energy consumer. Absolutely critical for life.
Absolutely. It dictates so much of our baseline metabolic rate.
So when we talk about cellular batteries running down or cells deflating, it's not just a metaphor. It's a very real, measurable metabolic consequence.
It really is. It's physiology.
And this profound understanding brings us face to face with a pervasive and deeply ingrained piece of conventional wisdom that we absolutely have to challenge head on.
Here we go.
The widely accepted belief that restricting salt is the key to managing high blood pressure.
The cornerstone of conventional advice.
You've heard it countless times, Ray. Perhaps from your doctor, maybe through public health campaigns. More salt equals more water retention equals higher blood pressure. That's the story.
That's the simplistic equation we're given.
But from the perspective of the field of bioenergetics, and based on our work here at Biospark Health, we have to state unequivocally that this conventional view is profoundly flawed.
Fundamentally flawed. It often gets the cause and effect completely backwards.
Backwards, how so?
It absolutely does. And understanding why it's backwards requires us to delve into the body's sophisticated yet often, well, self-sabotaging emergency response to perceived sodium restriction.
Okay.
This is where the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, or RAAS, often pronounced RAS, comes into play.
RAS. Okay, I've heard of that.
It's a complex, highly adaptive system designed for survival. When your body senses that dietary sodium levels are too low, it doesn't just passively accept it. It doesn't just say, oh, wow.
It reacts.
It initiates a powerful hormonal cascade designed to conserve every last milligram of sodium it possibly can. First, your kidneys, acting like vigilant sentinels, release an enzyme called renin. Renin then acts like a key, activating a protein called angiotensin. Angiotensin, in turn, stimulates the adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys, to release aldosterone.
Okay, so it's a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Renin, angiotensin, aldosterone.
Exactly. This entire RAAS system is your body's highly effective emergency response to a perceived sodium deficit. It's a critical survival mechanism honed over millennia when salt might have been scarce.
Makes sense from an evolutionary perspective.
But here's the crucial, often overlooked part that turns the conventional narrative completely on its head.
Okay.
This system, the RAAS, when chronically activated by low dietary sodium, it doesn't just conserve salt.
What else does it do?
It also triggers the release of potent stress hormones, specifically adrenaline and noradrenaline, epinephrine and norepinephrine.
Like our flight hormones.
Exactly. Effectively, by consciously restricting dietary sodium, you are literally putting your body into a chronic, low-level fight-or-flight state.
Wow. So restricting salt is stressing the body out.
Continuously.
Yeah.
And what does chronic RAAS activation stemming from that low dietary sodium intake lead to systemically? Widespread vasoconstriction. Meaning your blood vessels throughout your entire body tighten up, they constrict, becoming narrower.
Okay, tighter blood vessels.
And guess what the inevitable physiological consequence of widespread vasoconstriction is?
Higher blood pressure.
It raises blood pressure. This raises an important, almost paradoxical question for us to ponder.
Yeah?
Is the very intervention designed by conventional medicine to lower blood pressure, strict sodium restriction, actually causing it to rise for many individuals precisely through these profound systemic stress responses?
That is completely backwards to what we're told. It's a stunning paradox.
It truly is, but it's entirely logical when you understand the physiology through this bioenergetic lens.
So the very act of restriction, intended to help, ends up pushing the body into a state of chronic stress, which then raises blood pressure.
For many people, yes. And the cascading metabolic consequences of this induced stress are, frankly, quite far-reaching and often debilitating.
Let's trace that pathway a bit further then. What happens when aldosterone is chronically elevated from this RAAS activation?
Okay, so when aldosterone levels are chronically high due to low sodium, it leads to something called potassium wasting.
Wasting potassium.
Yes. Your body, in its desperate attempt to hold on to every bit of sodium, starts to excrete potassium through kidneys. You literally pee out this incredibly crucial intracellular mineral.
But potassium is vital too, isn't it? For inside the cell.
Absolutely essential. Remember the sodium-potassium pump. You need both. Potassium is just as vital as sodium, especially for maintaining that delicate cellular electrical balance inside the cell. So you're losing one critical mineral while trying desperately to conserve another. It's a bad trade-off.
Doesn't sound good. What else happens with the stress hormones, the adrenaline?
Well, the constant release of adrenaline, a key player in the stress response, profoundly impairs your glucose metabolism.
How so?
Think back to our discussions on the Randall cycle in the Metabolic Revolution series. Under stress, the body often prioritizes inefficient fat oxidation over its preferred fuel, glucose.
Right, the metabolic switch.
Elevated stress hormones like adrenaline actively shift your body's preference away from efficient glucose oxidation and towards this less efficient, more stressful fat-burning state.
And that's not good for energy.
It's not ideal, no. It's literally forcing your body into a metabolically inefficient state, one that drains your energy reserves, strains your systems, increases free radical production, and can lead to a host of symptoms you might misattribute to other causes, like fatigue or poor recovery.
Wow. So low salt leads to stress, which leads to potassium loss and impaired glucose use.
And this metabolic strain extends directly to your thyroid function as well, the master regulator.
How does salt affect the thyroid?
Your thyroid gland, that small but mighty organ in your neck, has a critical, often overlooked need for adequate sodium to perform its essential functions.
Okay.
Specifically, low sodium impairs the sodium iodide symporter.
Oh, what now?
The sodium iodide symporter, it's NIS for short. This is a specialized protein that acts like a crucial gatekeeper on thyroid cells. It actively transports iodine.
Which is needed for thyroid hormones.
Exactly. It transports iodine, the essential building block for your thyroid hormones, T3 and T4, into the thyroid gland itself. Without sufficient sodium, this symporter falters. It becomes sluggish.
So the thyroid can't get enough iodine.
Correct. It hinders the thyroid gland's ability to take up enough iodine and, consequently, hinders its capacity to produce the vital thyroid hormones your body needs to run your metabolism.
That's huge.
But the impact of sodium deficiency on the thyroid doesn't even end there with just iodine uptake.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Sodium deficiency goes a significant step further by triggering the production of reverse T3 or RT3.
Reverse T3, the brake pedal on metabolism.
Precisely. We've discussed RT3 before as the brake pedal or the metabolic dimmer switch. It's an inactive form of thyroid hormone that physically blocks the active T3 from binding to its receptors on your cells and doing its job of regulating metabolism.
So low sodium slows metabolism directly at the cellular level, too.
Yes. Independent of the iodine uptake issues, it creates this deeply problematic, vicious cycle. Low sodium impairs thyroid hormone production and increases the metabolic brake, RT3, which then reduces your body's innate ability to hold on to sodium because a healthy metabolism helps retain sodium.
Making the underlying problem even worse.
Exactly. It spirals, the result. You might find yourself constantly feeling cold, even when others are comfortable.
Cold hands and feet again.
You struggle with sluggish digestion, that persistent brain fog deepens to a thick haze, and you might find yourself increasingly reliant on stimulants like coffee or sugary drinks just to feel somewhat normal, just to get through the day.
It all starts to connect.
It really does. What's fascinating here is how seemingly disconnected symptoms like chronic coldness, profound fatigue, brain fog, stubborn digestive issues can all ultimately trace back to this fundamental electrolyte imbalance and its systemic metabolic effects, particularly its profound influence on the thyroid.
It's a reminder of just how interconnected our body systems truly are. One imbalance ripples outwards.
Absolutely. It's never just one thing in isolation.
That interconnectedness is truly compelling, isn't it? And this isn't just theoretical, is it? There's compelling, large-scale research that directly supports this bioenergetic perspective on salt, flying in the face of decades of conventional advice.
Oh, absolutely. The evidence is there if you look beyond the headline.
Tell us about the PRE study. That one seems significant.
The PRE study is huge, yeah. It stands for Prospective Urban-Rural Epidemiology Study, an enormous landmark global study involving over 100,000 people across 17 countries. It provides an unparalleled real-world perspective on diet and health outcomes.
Okay, 100,000 people. What did it find about salt?
What it revealed was absolutely groundbreaking, really challenging a core tenet of modern health guidelines. It showed a clear association between sodium intake below 3 grams per day and an increased risk of cardiovascular events and overall mortality.
Wait, say that again? Lower sodium was linked to higher risk.
Exactly. Below 3 grams per day correlated with worse outcomes. Cardiovascular events, heart attacks, stroke, death.
That completely flips the script.
Completely. And what did the study identify as the optimal sweet spot for sodium intake where risks were lowest?
What was it?
A range of 3 to 6 grams per day.
3 to 6 grams. That is significantly higher than the less than 1.5 grams recommended by many conventional guidelines.
Miles higher. It provides powerful population-level evidence supporting why our bioenergetic approach advocates for higher, more adequate sodium intake for most people.
Wow, population data backing it up.
The PURE study provides the statistical weight, the big numbers. But in practice, here at Biospark Health, we witness the profound, often really dramatic impact of strategic sodium reclamation every single day in our clients.
Can you share an example? Sometimes a story makes it clearer.
Absolutely. Let me share a powerful anecdote that vividly illustrates this transformation. We had a client, let's call her Jennifer. She was 35, came to us after years of what she meticulously considered clean eating.
Right, eating healthy.
Exactly. She religiously avoided salt, consumed a diet rich in vegetables, lean proteins, and she was even an avid marathon runner, logging upwards of 40 miles a week.
So doing everything right by conventional standards.
Pretty much. Despite all this diligent effort, she was plagued by chronic fatigue that defied explanation. She always felt freezing cold, even when bundled up, and she simply could not lose weight no matter how much she ran or how strictly she ate.
Frustrating.
Incredibly frustrating for her. Her TSH levels, the standard thyroid marker, were technically normal, according to conventional lab ranges.
But normal isn't always optimal.
Exactly. Her deeper metabolic markers told a different story. Her body temperature consistently hovered around a very low 96.8 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's really low.
And her resting pulse was a concerning 48 beats per minute. These are classic, undeniable signs of a deeply suppressed metabolism, even in someone who outwardly appeared healthy and fit.
So what did you do? What was the intervention?
Our intervention was incredibly simple, yet to some, it probably seemed almost radical given her history. We advised her to strategically add more real, unrefined salt to her diet.
How much?
We aimed for 5 to 8 grams of sodium daily, gradually increasing, a stark contrast to her previous zero-tolerance approach.
Okay, big change for her. What happened?
The results were nothing short of dramatic, even for us, and we see these kinds of things regularly within just 2 weeks.
2 weeks? That's fast.
Yeah, the body responds quickly when you give it what it needs. Her body temperature began to rise significantly, stabilizing at a healthy 98.2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Her energy levels were fully restored. She said she felt like she had truly come back to life, no longer needing to drag herself through the day.
That's amazing.
What's more, she even cut her running activity in half, from 40 miles a week down to 20.
Less exercise.
Yes, and yet, to her astonishment, she started losing weight naturally, effortlessly. The weight just started coming off.
Without trying harder.
Exactly. Her menstrual periods, which had been irregular and unpredictable for years, also regulated themselves.
Okay. Hormones balancing out too.
And here's the kicker, the part that often leaves conventional practitioners scratching their heads.
What's that?
Her cardiologist, who was understandably, let's say, concerned about her high salt intake, was forced to confront the fact that Jennifer's blood pressure actually dropped and normalized to healthy levels.
Her blood pressure went down with more salt.
Precisely. Why? Because by providing her body with the essential sodium it desperately needed, we effectively turned off that chronic stress response, that RAS system, that had been activated by her prior misguided salt restriction. The stress went down, the vessels relaxed.
That just perfectly illustrates the paradox we talked about.
It really does, and it raises that important question again. How many people out there are suffering needlessly? Experiencing chronic fatigue, persistent metabolic dysfunction, even high blood pressure, simply because of misguided dietary advice telling them to fear a vital, life-sustaining nutrient.
Jennifer's story is so powerful. It's not an isolated incident. It's a blueprint for the impact of understanding and applying bioenergetics.
Exactly. We see variations of the story constantly.
And Jennifer's story, especially the running aspect, leads us directly to the specific implications for exercise and our modern lifestyle, right? Areas where traditional advice on salt is particularly damaging.
Hugely damaging, often directly counterproductive for athletes or even just active people.
Think about intense physical activity. When you sweat during exercise, you lose sodium, a very significant amount.
A lot. People underestimate it.
To give you a concrete idea, an hour of intense sweaty activity can deplete your body of anywhere from 1 to 3 grams of sodium. Sometimes even more depending on the person the heat.
Yeah, heat, humidity, fitness level all play a role. It can be substantial.
But what's the conventional advice you usually hear from coaches, maybe even some doctors?
Just drink plain water. Or maybe avoid those sugary sports drinks. They're bad for you.
Right. But that couldn't be more counterproductive from a bioenergetic perspective, could it?
Not at all. Here's what actually happens when you replace those substantial sweat losses with just plain, unadulterated water. You dilute your blood sodium concentration, hyponatremia, essentially.
Dilute the blood.
And what does that dilution trigger? Exactly the stress response we just talked about. The activation of the REAS system, the surge of adrenaline and noradrenaline.
So drinking plain water after sweating makes the stress worse.
Yes. Your performance tanks mid-workout, your recovery suffers dramatically afterward, and you're literally creating systemic metabolic stress in an activity that's supposed to be healthy and regenerative.
That's crazy.
It is. Consider endurance athletes who, often trying to be healthy and clean, adhere to strict low-sodium diets, thinking they're doing their body a favor.
Yeah.
From a bioenergetic perspective, these individuals are frequently metabolic disasters waiting to happen, even if they look fit on the outside.
What do you mean metabolic disasters?
Yeah. They often exhibit sky-high cortisol levels, their thyroid function is often suppressed, their recovery from training is abysmal. They actually end up breaking down their own muscle tissue for fuel because their glucose metabolism is so impaired due to the chronic stress and lack of sodium for transport.
So they're burning muscle instead of fuel.
In essence, yes, catabolism. They accelerate aging, promote inflammation, and diminish their overall vitality despite all that healthy exercise.
That sounds awful. So what's the solution then?
Here's where it gets really interesting because the simple solution, often dismissed as unhealthy by mainstream advice, is precisely the combination that your body thrives on.
Which is?
Sodium and glucose. Together.
Salt and sugar again.
Yes, this is not just a random pairing. It's a synergistic combination that optimizes both glucose absorption and sodium retention, ensuring true cellular hydration and energy replenishment. Your body needs both to effectively rehydrate, refuel, and recover, especially after intense activity.
It's truly a testament to how far off we've gone from understanding what the body naturally requires for peak function.
It really is. Basic physiology gets ignored.
And while the implications for athletes are indeed profound, this discussion broadens significantly to just general modern living, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You absolutely don't need to be an elite athlete or run marathons to require more salt than conventionally advised.
Why is that?
Our daily lives are filled with chronic stressors, right? Yeah. Whether it's the constant pressure of work, maybe not getting enough sleep, emotional stress, even exposure to environmental toxins, all these things contribute to sodium depletion as the body mounts a stress response.
Okay, stress uses up sodium.
Yeah. Furthermore, something as common as daily coffee consumption, a staple for millions.
Guilty.
Yeah, me too sometimes. But coffee acts as a diuretic, causing you to excrete more sodium and other vital minerals like magnesium and potassium.
Right.
Even popular dietary approaches like very low-carb or ketogenic diets, by their very nature, promote the excretion of sodium because carbohydrates help the body hold on to water and sodium. Reduce the carbs drastically, you lose more sodium.
So keto flu might be partly sodium deficiency.
Often a huge part of it, yes. Electrolyte imbalance. All these factors combined mean that strategic sodium repletion is crucial for virtually everyone living in the modern world, not just those engaged in intense physical activity.
It connects back to the core principles of bioenergetics then. Understanding the body's true fundamental needs in the face of these pervasive modern challenges and pressures.
Exactly. Rather than blindly following outdated or misinformed guidelines, we have to ask, what does the body actually need to thrive in this specific environment with these specific stressors?
Okay. Building on that crucial point about modern living and meeting needs, let's redefine what we truly mean by hydration from this bioenergetic perspective.
Yes, this is key. It's so misunderstood.
It's a concept that is far more nuanced and, frankly, more intelligent than simply drink more water.
Right. Volume isn't the whole story.
True hydration isn't just about how much water you drink throughout the day. It's fundamentally about your electrolyte balance, and specifically, the pivotal role of sodium in that balance.
Crucial distinction.
You could diligently drink gallons upon gallons of water, hitting your daily quota. But if you have inadequate sodium, that water simply will not enter your cells where it is desperately needed to power all those metabolic processes.
It can't get in effectively.
Instead, it might just pass right through you, leading to frequent urination, or it could accumulate in extracellular spaces, causing uncomfortable swelling or puffiness,
Bloating, edema.
rather than true cellular hydration. Without sufficient sodium, your cells remain, in essence, parched, dehydrated at the cellular level.
Even if you're technically drinking enough water by volume, we call this cellular dehydration.
And this is a critical distinction that conventional hydration advice often completely misses, right? Focusing solely on water volume rather than cellular water retention.
Completely misses it. They forget the electrolytes needed to hold on to the water inside the cell.
So why is cellular hydration so dependent on sodium? Let's revisit that pump.
Indeed. To truly grasp why this cellular hydration is so critically dependent on sodium, let's go back to the sodium-potassium ATP ACE pump, the workhorse we talked about.
The big energy user.
That's the one. Remember, it's using 20–30% of your total daily ATP production. Its primary, tirelessly performed role is to actively maintain your cell volume and electrical potential, essentially, keeping your cells perfectly plump and electrically charged, like tiny humming dynamos.
Okay.
When sodium is low, especially outside the cell relative to inside, this pump becomes inefficient, sluggish, like an engine running on fumes. It simply cannot perform its function optimally.
And the consequences?
The consequences are far-reaching. Your cells literally begin to shrink because they can't maintain that osmotic balance properly.
Cells shrink.
Yeah. When cells shrink, their finely tuned internal machinery falters. Their ability to take in essential nutrients is severely impaired, and their capacity to efficiently remove metabolic waste products also suffers, leading to a buildup of cellular junk.
So it affects everything inside the cell.
Leads to widespread cellular dehydration, even if you're consuming plenty of water. What's fascinating here is how this cellular dehydration impacts virtually every vital function in your body.
Like what?
Your muscles, for instance, cannot contract effectively. That leads to weakness, cramps, or fatigue, because muscle contraction relies heavily on proper cell volume and those electrical gradients for signaling.
Okay, muscle function.
Your neural transmission, the communication network of your brain and nervous system, becomes sluggish. That contributes to brain fog, poor cognitive function, slow reaction times.
Brain fog again?
Even hormone signaling, which dictates countless bodily processes, relies on properly hydrated and electrically charged cells to receive and convey their messages effectively. All of this is deeply compromised when sodium is deficient and cells are dehydrated.
Wow. It really underpins so much basic function.
It really does.
And if it all comes back to energy, as we keep saying in bioenergetics, then we have to connect sodium directly to your mitochondria, right?
Yeah.
Your energy factories.
Absolutely. The connection is direct. Proper sodium levels, particularly maintaining that gradient across the cell membrane established by the pump, is absolutely crucial for supporting the mitochondrial membrane potential.
Okay, explain that a bit.
That membrane potential is essentially the electrical charge across the inner mitochondrial membrane. It's like the battery charge that drives the ATP synthase enzyme, the machine that actually makes most of your ATP. It's the core driving force behind energy production through oxidative phosphorylation.
So the main way we make energy relies on this electrical charge.
Which is influenced by overall cellular electrolyte balance, heavily involving sodium. If sodium levels are off, if that cellular electrical balance is disturbed, your mitochondria cannot function optimally. That mitochondrial membrane potential can decrease.
And the message is clear and consistent throughout the entire field of bioenergetics.
Low sodium fundamentally means inefficient energy production at the most foundational cellular mitochondrial level.
It truly all comes back to energy, which is the core principle we work with here at Biospark Health.
And this foundational understanding of sodium's multifaceted role in cellular function, energy production, hydration, thyroid health, stress response, digestion, it's precisely why optimizing sodium intake is such a cornerstone of our bioenergetic reset program here.
Right. It's a key piece of the puzzle you address.
A fundamental piece. We've seen truly dramatic, often life-altering improvements in our clients' vitality, energy, mood, digestion, overall well-being, precisely because we're restoring cellular function by addressing this fundamental electrolyte balance first.
It's not about a simplistic one-size-fits-all approach, though, is it?
Not at all. It's about strategic sodium use, carefully tailored to an individual's unique physiology, their current metabolic state, their activity level, their stress levels, their diet. It's about giving the body exactly what it needs to thrive, not blindly following what outdated guidelines or fear-based narratives recommend.
Okay, so now let's directly confront the elephant in the room, the big one.
The big one. Let's do it.
The major psychological and educational barrier for so many people when it comes to embracing proper sodium intake, the deeply ingrained blood pressure issue.
Hypertension. the main reason people fear salt.
The idea that salt causes hypertension and therefore must be strictly restricted has been drilled into us for decades. It permeates everything from medical advice to public health campaigns. Where did this dogma even come from?
Well, it largely originated from observations made back in the 1970s. Researchers noted that certain populations around the world who consumed very high amounts of salt,
Yeah.
particularly in things like traditionally fermented foods or as a preservative, they also exhibited higher rates of high blood pressure compared to populations with lower salt intake.
So on the surface, the correlation seemed clear.
From a superficial glance, yes. High salt intake, high blood pressure observed in the same population. And it was quickly generalized into a simplistic cause and effect narrative. High salt equals high blood pressure. Case closed. Or so they thought.
Okay, let's unpack this. What was critically missing from that context? What does bioenergetics bring to light here?
The missing context is absolutely everything. It's the complex tapestry of other factors at play in those specific populations being studied back then.
Like what other factors?
Well, those same populations often had alarmingly high rates of obesity. They often had high rates of alcohol consumption. They were frequently becoming more sedentary as lifestyles shifted. And crucially, they were often consuming diets that were increasingly loaded with highly processed foods.
Ah, the processed food angle.
Yes, foods packed not just with salt, but also with insidious polyunsaturated fats, industrial chemicals, refined sugars, all sorts of metabolic disruptors.
So salt was just one piece of a much bigger, unhealthier picture.
Exactly. It was just one variable, one piece of a much larger complex puzzle of modern dietary and lifestyle factors contributing to metabolic dysfunction. It was a correlation observed within a specific metabolically compromised context.
Not necessarily the sole direct cause of hypertension in all individuals, everywhere, regardless of context.
Precisely. The picture is far, far more intricate and nuanced than the simplistic salt equals high blood pressure equation we've been handed down.
That makes so much more sense. It's the overall metabolic health picture.
Exactly. The missing context is paramount. When you actually look at historical and cross-cultural evidence, that simplistic narrative completely breaks down.
Give us an example.
Consider, for example, populations like the pre-Westernized Japanese. Historically, they had incredibly high salt intake. I mean, massive amounts.
From things like soy sauce, miso.
Exactly. Miso, soy sauce, pickled vegetables, salted fish. Their traditional diet was very high in sodium. Yet, despite this massive sodium consumption, they had remarkably low rates of hypertension historically.
High salt, low blood pressure.
In that metabolically healthier context, yes. It's a powerful counterexample that completely unravels the simplistic salt causes high blood pressure dogma when you look at it carefully. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it becomes abundantly clear that the mechanism matters significantly. Salt does not, in and of itself, cause hypertension in metabolically healthy individuals.
So the problem isn't the salt per se.
The problem, the true issue, arises from the insidious combination of adequate or even higher sodium with underlying metabolic dysfunction.
Okay, what kind of dysfunction are we talking about?
We're talking about chronic insulin resistance, often stemming from chronic high blood sugar, frequent snacking, a low metabolic rate, which makes cells less responsive to insulin and stiffens arteries.
Right.
We're talking about arterial stiffness itself, which is a direct and damaging consequence of consuming excessive polyunsaturated fats, those unstable seed oils that literally integrate into and disrupt the delicate structure and flexibility of blood vessel walls.
BUFAs again.
Always lurking. We're talking about chronic inflammation, frequently originating from gut dysfunction, bacterial overgrowth like SIBO, and systemic endotoxin exposure that poisons cellular function and taxes the liver and circulatory system.
It's a whole cluster of issues.
It's that combination of insults, those metabolic stressors, that makes adequate sodium intake problematic for an already struggling system. But when you systematically fix the underlying metabolic dysfunction, when you address those other stressors, sodium transforms from being perceived as an enemy to becoming a powerful ally and friend to your health. It becomes a vital support for cellular function, not a primary stressor.
That's a crucial distinction that can change everything for someone struggling with the blood pressure. It's not necessarily the salt itself, it's the context of the salt within your overall metabolic health.
Precisely. Context is king in biology.
And what's truly counterintuitive for many, but profoundly backed by the science of bioenergetics, is that adequate sodium intake can actually lower blood pressure in many people, not raise it.
Yes. We saw that with Jennifer's case. It's not about restriction. It's about intelligent provision.
Explain how that works again, lowering blood pressure with salt.
When your body consistently receives sufficient sodium, it no longer needs to activate that chronic emergency stress response, the RAAS system that we discussed earlier.
Right, the stress signal turns off.
Without that constant low-level emergency signal, the release of powerful stress hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline diminishes significantly. Your blood vessels, which were constricted and tight due to that chronic stress, they can then relax and dilate, open up. And when your blood vessels relax and expand, what naturally happens to the pressure inside them?
It drops.
Your blood pressure drops and normalizes. It's a fundamental shift in understanding how the body truly regulates blood pressure, moving from a simplistic linear view to a holistic bioenergetic one that respects the body's intricate wisdom and feedback loops.
So restricting salt keeps the stress system on. Constricting vessels while providing enough salt allows the stress system to turn off relaxing vessels.
In many, many cases, yes. That's the paradox.
And this understanding leads us directly to identify what we, in the field of bioenergetics, understand as the real underlying causes of hypertension, the things we should actually be focusing on.
Exactly. These are the fundamental issues that truly drive elevated blood pressure, independent of or maybe just exacerbated by sodium intake in a metabolically unhealthy individual.
What are they? Let's list them out.
Okay, key factors include chronic insulin resistance, often from chronic high blood sugar, excessive snacking, low metabolic rate. This makes cells less responsive to insulin and directly stiffens arteries.
Got it. Insulin resistance.
Arterial stiffness itself, a direct consequence of consuming excessive polyunsaturated fats, compromising the flexibility and integrity of blood vessels. They literally become less pliable.
Okay, stiff arteries from bad fats.
Chronic inflammation, frequently originating from gut dysfunction, bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, endotoxin production, taxing the liver and circulatory system, creating systemic irritation.
Inflammation, gut health.
Significant magnesium deficiency. This is a huge one, often overlooked. Magnesium is absolutely critical for smooth muscle relaxation, including the muscles in your blood vessel walls. Deficiency leads to constriction.
Magnesium for relaxation. Makes sense.
And, of course, a suppressed thyroid, or hypothyroidism. The thyroid impacts every metabolic process, including the regulation of blood pressure and the tone, the elasticity of your blood vessels.
Thyroid again, the master regulator.
It's always involved. Our approach at Biospark Health emphasizes that by systematically addressing these fundamental underlying issues, fixing insulin resistance, removing PUFAs, healing the gut, ensuring magnesium sufficiency, supporting the thyroid, and by providing the body with adequate sodium and other essential nutrients, blood pressure can normalize naturally. Your body can find its inherent balance. This truly highlights the body's amazing capacity to heal itself, provided you give it what it genuinely needs to function optimally and efficiently, instead of just fighting symptoms restrictions.
That's a much more empowering approach. Focus on building health, not just restricting things.
Exactly. Nourishment over restriction, but intelligent nourishment.
So with all this profound information, the big question becomes, how do you actually implement this in your daily life? How do you practically integrate salt into a healthy, bioenergetic lifestyle?
Right, the practical side. This isn't just theory, it's actionable advice.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because it's not just about adding some salt. It's about choosing the right quality and understanding the powerful synergy it creates.
Quality matters immensely here.
First, let's talk about the type of salt. You need to forget that stripped, bleached white table salt you find in most grocery stores.
Yeah, leave that on the shelf.
That's essentially just pure sodium chloride with added anti-caking agents, maybe some iodine added back, but it's devoid of the other beneficial minerals that naturally occur alongside sodium in its whole form.
It's a refined, processed product.
Instead, seek out unrefined sea salt. What are some good options?
Brands like Celtic sea salt, Redmond real salt from Utah, Himalayan pink salt, those are excellent choices. They tend to be minimally processed.
And why are they better?
This kind of salt retains its full spectrum of trace minerals, things like magnesium, calcium, potassium, dozens of others, which are naturally present in the salt beds or seawater and are incredibly beneficial to the body, working synergistically with the sodium.
So you get more than just sodium chloride.
Exactly. Now, crucially, when choosing a brand, it is important to look for quality control. Ideally, choose brands that test for and have low heavy metal contamination, because depending on the source, some sea salts can pick up pollutants. So details matter for getting a clean, truly beneficial product.
Good point. Quality control is key. Now, what about someone who's been restricting salt for years? They can't just jump to 8 grams a day, right?
No, definitely not. If you've been restricting salt for a long time, it's really important to start gradually. Ease your body back into this new, more nourished state. Your system, especially those hormonal systems like RAAS, needs time to readapt and remember how to properly utilize and regulate sodium again.
So slow and steady. How should they start?
A simple, excellent way to begin is by adding just a quarter teaspoon of unrefined sea salt to a glass of orange juice in the morning.
Orange juice. Why orange juice?
Yes,
Yeah.
orange juice. Or even just water with some sugar or honey. This isn't random. It leverages that powerful sodium-glucose synergy we discussed earlier.
Ah, salt and sugar together again.
Exactly. The sodium helps with glucose absorption from the juice, getting that foundational fuel into your cells efficiently, providing potassium and vitamin C. It gives you a powerful, sustained energy boost right at the start of your day, often much smoother than the jitters you might get from coffee.
Okay, quarter teaspoon in OJ. Then what?
Then, as you integrate this, pay incredibly close attention to how your body responds. Notice how your energy levels improve. Notice if your hands and feet start to warm up. Maybe that persistent brain fog begins to clear, revealing new mental clarity.
Listen to your body's feedback.
Absolutely. These are all tangible signs that your metabolism is coming back online, getting the resources it needs. And critically, start listening to your body's innate wisdom, that profound internal guidance system.
Those cravings.
Exactly. Those cravings for salt you might experience. They're not a sign of weakness or a bad habit to be suppressed. They're very likely your body telling you precisely what it needs to maintain homeostasis, its internal balance.
So don't ignore the craving.
Don't ignore it. If your food tastes bland without salt, it's a clear, undeniable signal that your body needs more. Stop fighting what your body is trying to tell you it wants and needs to thrive. Salt your food to taste. Trust that sense.
Okay, building on that, what are some general dosage guidelines? You mentioned 3 to 8 grams earlier.
Right. Building on starting gradually, for most metabolically healthy people, an optimal daily intake for sodium generally falls in the range of 3 to 8 grams.
And how much salt is that?
To give you a practical measure, remember salt is sodium chloride, about 40% sodium. So 3 to 8 grams of sodium translates roughly to about 7.5 to 20 grams of salt per day. That's about 1.5 to 4 teaspoons of unrefined salt per day.
1.5 to 4 teaspoons. That sounds like a lot compared to the conventional advice.
It is a lot compared to conventional advice, but it aligns with historical intake and what studies like PURE suggest is optimal for health outcomes. It's a broad range, though, because your individual needs can vary significantly based on your unique physiology and lifestyle.
Right. You mentioned things that increase needs.
Yes. You will certainly need more if you engage in regular, intense exercise, especially if you sweat a lot. We lose a lot in sweat.
Okay, exercise.
If you live in a hot, humid climate, your sodium losses through sweat will naturally be higher just going about your day.
Heat and humidity.
And, quite importantly, if you are experiencing significant psychological or physiological stress, whether it's acute emotional stress, a chronic illness, or even recovering from surgery, your body will deplete sodium more quickly as it mounts that stress response. So needs go up during stress.
Okay, stress increases need too. What about kidney disease? That's always the caveat.
Right. It's crucial to acknowledge that for individuals with genuine diagnosed kidney disease, especially later stages, sodium handling can be impaired. It's absolutely essential to work closely with a knowledgeable healthcare provider in such cases. Sodium restriction might be necessary.
Right.
However, even then, emerging perspectives suggest that moderate, balanced sodium intake is often found to be more beneficial than severe restriction because complete restriction can trigger those other compensatory stress responses, like RAAS activation, that are ultimately more harmful even for kidney patients. It's nuanced and requires careful management.
Got it. Nuanced. Work with a doctor if you have kidney issues.
Definitely. Now, as you begin to thoughtfully increase your sodium intake, a simple yet incredibly powerful way to monitor your progress in metabolic function is by consistently tracking your baseline body temperature and resting pulse.
Temperature and pulse. Why those?
Because they are direct, real-time indicators of your metabolic rate. As your sodium status improves and your metabolism optimizes, partly due to better thyroid function, better cellular energy production, both your baseline body temperature and your resting pulse should gradually rise and stabilize within healthy, efficient ranges. Maybe aiming for 98.6 F or close, and a pulse between 70-85 BPM at rest.
So watch for those numbers to improve.
Yes. You'll likely notice your hands and feet previously cold, becoming consistently warmer, a clear sign of improved circulation and metabolic heat production. And that previously erratic energy will start to stabilize throughout the day without those dramatic peaks and crashes that characterize metabolic inefficiency.
Those are tangible signs things are moving in the right direction.
Exactly. Real-world signs that your metabolism is indeed coming back online, signaling true vitality. And here's that pro tip again, the one we often share at Biospark Health, that might initially surprise people.
The salt and sugar combo.
Yes. For maximum benefit, consciously combine salt with sugar. This might sound counterintuitive if you're steeped in low-carb dogma, but remember that profound physiological synergy.
How'd it go?
A small pinch of salt stirred into your fruit juice, orange juice, is great because it also has potassium. Or even just a sprinkle of unrefined salt on white fruit, like a banana, an orange, maybe a handful of berries, melon.
Salt on fruit.
Absolutely. It actually enhances the sweetness often. This combination works harmoniously to optimize cellular hydration and ensure efficient glucose delivery to your cells, fueling them perfectly. It's literally what your cells want and are designed to utilize.
It's the mechanism sports drinks try to copy.
Exactly. They try to recreate it, often with inferior ingredients like high fructose corn syrup and artificial colors and flavors. You can do it much better with real food.
That's a great practical tip. Salt your fruit, juice your fruit. Okay, let's move to another critical, often overlooked area where sodium plays an absolutely essential role.
Where are we going now?
Your digestive health.
Ah, yes. Hugely important and rarely linked to salt by most people.
This is something that is rarely discussed in mainstream health circles, yet it's foundational to your entire well-being. Your stomach acid, hydrochloric acid, HCl.
The stuff that breaks down your food.
It's literally made up of hydrogen, H, and chloride, Cl. Where does the chloride component come from?
It has to come from your diet, primarily from sodium chloride.
Exactly. So it should come as no surprise, though it often does, that studies consistently show a direct correlation. Low salt intake often correlates directly with insufficient stomach acid production, or hypochlorhydria.
Makes perfect sense chemically. Not enough chloride, not enough hydrochloric acid.
And when your stomach acid is insufficient, it sets off a cascading series of digestive problems that profoundly impact your entire metabolic state. It's a domino effect of dysfunction starting right at the top of the gut.
The cascading effects are indeed profound. For your gut health, and by extension, your entire well-being. When you can't produce adequate stomach acid,
What happens?
you severely compromise your ability to properly digest proteins. Pepsin, the enzyme that breaks down protein, needs a highly acidic environment to work, so protein digestion falters.
Undigested protein. That sounds bad.
It is. It leads to large, undigested protein molecules passing into your intestines where they can ferment and putrefy, feeding problematic bacteria and creating gas and bloating.
Okay. What else?
This also means you're unable to properly absorb essential minerals like calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, which require that acidic environment for optimal uptake. So you can become mineral deficient even if you eat mineral-rich foods.
Mineral deficiencies.
Furthermore, low stomach acid is a key contributing factor in bacterial overgrowth, like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or SIBO.
How does that work?
Because the stomach acid acts as a crucial first-line barrier. It's supposed to sterilize your food, effectively killing off incoming pathogens and preventing bacteria from migrating up from the large intestine. When acid is low, that barrier fails.
So bacteria can overgrow where they shouldn't.
Exactly. And when bacteria proliferates in the small intestine, it leads to a rise in endotoxins. These are toxic bacterial byproducts.
Endotoxins sound nasty.
They are. They get absorbed into your bloodstream, put an enormous burden on your liver, effectively overwhelming its detoxification capacities. This, in turn, can severely crash your energy production and drive systemic inflammation throughout the body.
Wow, low salt, leading potentially to SIBO and liver burden.
It's a very plausible pathway. Beyond stomach acid, sodium is also crucial for producing other vital digestive enzymes further down, like pancreatic enzymes that break down carbohydrates and fats.
Okay, enzyme production too.
Moreover, remember those sodium-dependent glucose cotransporters, SGLTs, in your intestines, the ones that absorb glucose? They don't just absorb glucose, they also play a vital role in maintaining the integrity of your gut lining. They actively help strengthen the gut barrier function.
So low sodium could weaken the gut lining.
It stands to reason that insufficient sodium, impairing the function of these transporters, could directly contribute to increased gut permeability, commonly known as leaky gut.
Leaky gut, allowing inflammatory stuff into the bloodstream.
Exactly. allowing undigested food particles, toxins, bacteria to pass into your bloodstream, triggering immune responses and more inflammation. We have seen countless digestive issues resolve, or at least significantly improve, simply by guiding clients to add adequate, unrefined salt back into their diet.
Like what kind of issues?
Chronic bloating often disappears. Acid reflux dramatically improves.
Wait, acid reflux improves with more salt. Isn't reflux too much acid?
That's the common misconception. Acid reflux is very often caused by low stomach acid, not high acid.
How does that work?
When acid is low, food sits in the stomach longer, starts to ferment, creates pressure, and that pressure pushes the stomach contents, including some acid, back up into the esophagus, causing the burning. Adequate acid promotes proper digestion and emptying, preventing the reflux.
Mind blown. Okay, so low salt, low acid, maybe reflux.
It's a very common pattern we see. Also, nutrient absorption significantly enhances when digestion improves with adequate salt and acid, and consequently, energy levels rebound as the body finally gets the fuel and building blocks it needs.
It all connects back.
It really does. This profound connection is also likely why traditional cultures intuitively use salt so extensively in preparing fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, various pickles.
Right, not just for taste or preservation.
It was partly preservation, yes, but these weren't just preservation methods. They were brilliant culinary traditions that delivered essential sodium in a form that also provided beneficial bacteria and organic acids, supporting both gut microbial balance and overall metabolic health. It's a powerful testament to ancient wisdom aligning perfectly with modern bioenergetic understanding.
Amazing. Okay, look, we absolutely get it. Everything we've discussed today, this entire deep dive into the true role of salt.
It's a lot to take in.
It goes against decades of deeply ingrained public health messaging. Your doctor has probably advised you to avoid salt. Your well-meaning friends and family might share articles about the dangers of sodium.
We hear it all the time.
But here's the thing. From the perspective of the field of bioenergetics, from our rigorous research and clinical experience here at Biospark Health, the conventional narrative is, at best, incomplete, and, at worst, actively harmful for many people.
The evidence just points in a different direction when you look at it holistically.
For starters, extensive population studies, like the PRE study we mentioned, unequivocally show that the lowest cardiovascular events and mortality rates are associated with sodium intakes that are 2 to 3 times higher than conventional recommendations.
The big population data is there.
Then we have the intricate mechanistic studies delving into cellular biology, which clearly demonstrate that sodium is absolutely essential for foundational cellular energy production, proper hydration, nerve function, nutrient transport, countless enzymatic processes.
The basic science supports its necessity.
And finally, our extensive clinical experience working with real people like Jennifer every single day shows dramatic, profound, and often life-changing improvements when individuals stop fearing salt and start consuming it intelligently and appropriately for their unique needs.
The real-world results are undeniable when applied correctly.
So, we feel compelled to share what the science and clinical practice reveal. The story you've been told about salt is incomplete and in many ways misleading.
Not maliciously, perhaps.
No, not maliciously. Most doctors and health professionals genuinely believe the low-salt dogma because that's what they've been taught through generations of medical training based on that older, incomplete research.
It's ingrained in the system.
But the result's the same. Millions of people are likely suffering from preventable metabolic dysfunction, living with chronic fatigue, brain fog, coldness, stubborn weight issues, digestive problems, simply because they're unknowingly avoiding an absolutely essential nutrient.
It's tragic, really, when you think about it.
We want to empower you deeply. Question everything you've been told. Try gradually adding real, unrefined salt back into your diet, following the practical steps we've discussed.
Start slow. Listen to your body.
Monitor how you feel, not what some generalized guideline dictates for a population average that might not apply to you. Trust your body's inherent wisdom, that intelligent system that sends you cravings for a reason.
Trust your taste buds when food is bland.
Over fear-based, often outdated recommendations. Your body knows what it needs to thrive if you learn to listen.
And if you want to dive even deeper into this, to truly get personalized guidance on how to implement these bioenergetic principles in a way that's specific to your unique physiology,
Yeah.
We have resources at Biospark Health designed to empower you. Our Energy Reset Essentials mini course, for instance, breaks down exactly how to optimize your electrolyte balance, sodium, potassium, magnesium for maximum energy and cellular function.
Okay, the mini course.
For a small investment, you gain access to the precise, actionable protocols we use with our private clients. There's no fear-mongering, no complex jargon, just practical, effective steps you can take right now to reclaim your metabolic health and vitality, all grounded in solid bioenergetic science.
Good starting point. What about more personalized help?
For those who are ready to go all in and truly transform their health, our one-on-one coaching provides completely customized sodium and electrolyte protocols. We tailor everything to your unique needs, your specific health history, your labs, your individual goals.
Direct support.
We work with you directly, monitoring your progress, making adjustments as needed, and supporting you every step of the way on your journey to becoming truly metabolically optimized. This is for people who are done with the one-size-fits-all approaches and demand real, lasting results from experts who understand the body's fundamental needs based on bioenergetics.
Give that personalized plan.
Exactly. And all this, it raises an important question for all of us to continually ponder.
What's that?
What other long-held beliefs about health, deeply ingrained in our society, might also need to be re-examined through the powerful and revealing lens of bioenergetics? Salt is just one piece.
That's a profound question, and one we constantly ask ourselves here as we do this research. Remember why you came here today, listening to this. Perhaps you came looking for answers because fundamentally what you've been told about health simply isn't working for you.
You're still searching.
You're tired of being tired. You're done with conflicting information and health advice that leaves you feeling worse, not better. You want the truth about what your body actually needs to be vibrant.
The underlying reality.
Well, here it is, straight from the cutting edge of the field of bioenergetics. Your body needs salt. It needs cholesterol. It needs sugar in the right forms and context. It needs many of the things we've been told to fear and restrict.
Dr. Preciuti emphasizes this constantly.
The path to health isn't primarily through deprivation. It's through intelligent, strategic nourishment. Now, this doesn't mean you can consume these things willy-nilly either. Quality and context are everything. It means understanding their essential role, their synergy, and not fearing their necessary place in a healthy, high-energy metabolism.
Nourishment, not restriction, is the primary tool, though thoughtful choices are still key.
As for what's next on the main Metabolic Revolution series, we're tackling another nutritional powerhouse, protein.
Protein, another hot topic.
Everyone says more is always better, right? For muscle, for health. But what if they're wrong about that too?
Is there a downside to too much?
What if protein, like so many other things, has a so-called Goldilocks zone for optimal intake, where too little is bad, but too much can also be detrimental?
Interesting.
What if excess protein, beyond what your body actually needs for repair and building, is actually stressing your metabolism, diverting energy and resources into costly disposal pathways, rather than exclusively building you up?
Something to think about. The metabolic cost of protein.
Get ready to have your mind opened again. The revolution isn't about simply following new rules or fleeting fads. It's about fundamentally understanding how your body actually works, and then profoundly giving it exactly what it needs and not too much of what it doesn't to truly thrive.
Understanding the why behind it all.
As always, please remember this information is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice.
Please consult with your trusted healthcare provider.
Work with them to determine what is right for your individual situation and health needs. You came to the right place to learn and think differently. Let's talk.